Hello, and welcome to another pop-up stream book page sketch. I'm Jarrod Alberich, the Yard Sale Artist. I want to welcome you to the Yard Sale Artist Studios. I'm going to be taking another busted book from my collection of busted books and drawing a character on it. Today's book is Hannibal by Thomas Harris. Another yard sale, or maybe yard sale find. Busted spine, as you can see down there. I pull out a page. It has Dr. Lecter doing Dr. Hannibal Lecter things, and I'm going to draw Dr. Hannibal Lecter on it. So welcome to the show. Feel free to jump into the comments, say hi, ask questions if you like, as I turn this busted book into a piece of art. We're going to be listening to the smooth sounds of Joe November as usual. I encourage you to check out Joe's SoundCloud page, JOSEFLIN99. I'm certain if you go and look for Joe November on SoundCloud, though, you are going to find him. So I've already got my pencil sketch layout on the page, and as usual, I'm going to begin the inking process with the Pigma Micron 8. I'm going to use a nice fat tip on this one. I've done Hannibal Lecter a couple of times, so I found a balance that I like with him. This is one of the simpler ones I've done. I've got sort of a simple layout for him that I'm really happy with. So I invite you guys to come along and take the journey with me today. I see I got a few watchers in. Hello and welcome. You know, as usual, whether you're watching on Periscope on Twitter or on Facebook or on YouTube, I appreciate each and every one of you. If you're not watching on YouTube, I'd really appreciate if you make your way over there and drop me a subscription. That'd be awesome. Really appreciate it. And I just hope everybody's having the best possible Monday that they can have. We're having a pretty good day here at Yard Sale Artist Headquarters. Kind of a quiet, laid-back day. Everybody's worn out. We went out to a lake yesterday fishing. Nice, relaxing day. Beautiful weather. Kind of get away from it all. Quiet day on a private little lake. It was nice, but man, the sun zapped me, so I'm like just kind of tired and moving slow today. But hey, I didn't forget you guys out there. I want to give you something to watch, place to hang out today if you wanted to. I hope you're enjoying it. What is up, formerly Rod Line? Yeah, today's topic's a little bit creepy and a little bit scary. You know, it's funny, kind of back-to-back diametric opposition, if I can use big words here. My last one, I did a Disney cartoon character, and now here I am, Hannibal Lecter. Opposite ends of the spectrum. Hope you're doing good today. Rod? So, again, I see some folks watching. You're welcome into the chat. Say hello. Give me your thoughts. Tell me what's on your mind. I don't just give art advice. I give life advice, right? Which is kind of true. I taught communications and leadership for over 20 years between the military and my contracting days, so I'm happy to answer any questions you have about military leadership, be it not military leadership or non-military leadership. Here's a clue. They're both pretty much the same. Anything you want to know, let's chat about it. I'm glad you're doing well. Rod, I'm really glad to hear you're doing good, buddy. It's like, yeah, man, come on over to the YouTube channel. Check us out. That's where Rod's over there in the chat. Hey, I just like to hear from folks and know that they're doing good and answer any questions or concerns anyone has. I've seen a lot of life, folks, and I don't mind sharing it with you guys. We should do our best to get Sir Anthony Hopkins in the chat. Oh, man. Rod comes out swinging with a leadership question right off the bat. What's your number one top advice for a leader? Ooh, number one. There's I have so many advices, so many topics to cover just to come out and say, what's number one? All right. I reserve the right to change my mind about this later, but right now I'm feeling the best thing you could do as a leader is listen to your experts. Listen to the people on your crew who've been there a while and seen a thing or two. So you want to boil that down to one word? Listen. But really put a lot of value the people on your crew who've been there a while. I don't mean trust them blindly. They don't always have all the same information that a leader does. But listen to them, because chances are whatever you're going through, they've seen it before. They know what works. They know what doesn't work. And you will gain a ton of cachet and respect with them if you just listen, hear them out, heed their advice whenever possible. I would say one of the best things that was taught to me when I was in ROTC, they taught us, hey, when you're new officers and you get where you're going, brand new lieutenants, find your senior enlisted guys that work for you, sit them down and tell them, hey, I'm new. I don't know nearly as much as you guys do, so I'm going to be depending on you a lot to help me and help mold me as I step into this new leadership position. I'm really glad they gave us that advice, because that worked really well for me in my military career. Rod says the ones who don't listen, he finds, tend to be the ultra micromanagers that always have to put an opinion. And yeah, you're right. And really, at the end of the day, the ones who don't listen and micromanage, all they're really doing is revealing their inadequacy. That's all they're doing. They think, a lot of leaders. Let me make a whole sentence here. A lot of leaders think they have to be the ones to have the answer. They have to be the one to solve the problem because they're the leader, and that's a misconception. It's perfectly all right for someone else on the team to have the idea to solve the problem. In fact, I find that to be ideal. Very, very ideal. To let others solve the problem, because that creates ownership and builds teamwork. Good questions, Rodline. Appreciate you pitching in today. Coffee and Comics in the chat. Good to see you, buddy. My friend Quentin. Clinton says he just wants people to do their job and go home. Only it's that simple, but it's rarely that simple, is it? Because the job is made up of people. People come with their own set of unique challenges. I think we can all agree on that. Rod says he had a project that used to ask people to scale the font by like 0.35 and then say, yeah, that's it now. Yeah, there's always those kind of leaders, Rod. The people, the leaders that, you know, I want you to change happy to glad. And here, I don't want you to say a mixture of red and blue. I want you to say purple. Okay, dude. I see what the game is we're playing today. Just feel like they have to have a hand in it. It's funny because the leadership world is, in that regard, you know, giving people tasks and letting them run with it is extremely like the art world. In the art world, you want people to, customers, clients, you know, people who commission your artwork, give you, you know, a little guidance and then let you go be you and make the art product. You don't want to be art directed to death. No artist likes that. And it's exactly the same feeling in any circumstance. You know, people just want to do what they do. They want to be allowed to be a little bit creative. And when you allow your people to do that, guess what? You get better products, more loyalty. People feel appreciated. It's quite the wonderful outcome. You got that right. Ruffian Comics just asked over there on Twitter, you know, is micromanaging like giving art direction? 100%. 100% it is. Yeah, Rod, sounds like you got one of those interesting ones. Rod's saying in the chat that, you know, this is the kind of manager that likes to have enough say they had a hand in it where it goes good, but not enough hand in it to where it goes bad. They have to accept any amount of responsibility. Yeah, those are the interesting ones, my friend. It's not going there. Sometimes you got to make your way through those guys. Appreciate you guys giving me an opportunity to do some leadership talk today. Yes, Clinton, today's musical selections as usual. Our musical genius, Joe November. Good guess. I always play Joe November on the channel. So predictable. Joe just had a new album drop last week. Beats Without Homes Volume 3. It's called the Oops Pal Surprise Report, which amuses me greatly. Is now available. I know it's on Bandcamp. I don't know if it's made it to all the other platforms yet or not, but I know you can get it on Bandcamp. This last one that Joe did, the Oops Pal Surprise Report, is basically he's taken a lot of his favorite themes from anime and used them as like samples to make beats from. Pretty cool, especially if you're an anime freak. And I know my boy Joe is. Hey, I see getting some thumbs up over there on Facebook. I appreciate it. Feel free to drop in the chat, say hello. Got a couple of nice folks in the chat already. Here we go. Yeah, it's a little bit of Hannibal Lecter action today. It's going to be a little bit fun. We're going to do a little something different. Give it a little fun effect at the end today. Over on the Longbox Crusade channel, I once did a Hannibal Lecter. So if you ever saw that one, then it won't be much of a surprise to you. But if you never saw that one, then today's finish will be a fun surprise finish. There's a hint on screen right now. It's right over here. Has something to do with that. Ooh, the tantalization. Let's see, where do I go, marker? I want to thicken up this line right here. There we go. Over on Twitter, Coffee and Comics is commenting saying longtime fans are awaiting the circle, and you know that. And I'm like, unfortunately, there's no circle on today's piece. I know I'm breaking some hearts today, but there will be no circle today. You crack me up. No circle today. Wee-oh. I like doing the Hannibal Lecter because I've done it enough times to where I've settled on this fairly simple image. And B, the paper quality on this particular book is pretty good. So I can be a little bit more free with the eraser than I normally would on a book page where it would just kind of tear up rather easily. A little more flexibility with that on this page. I know. I think I've upset Coffee and Comics blog over there on Twitter. My friend Clinton's he's beside himself with this no circle going to happen today. Ruined Clinton's whole day with the lack of circle. I see we got another handful of viewers in. I just want to say welcome to y'all. Pop in the chat if you like. Ask questions. We just had a really good discussion about leadership, which I love talking about. I taught leadership classes for decades. I'm here to dispense any leadership advice you might need. Art advice. We can talk pop culture. Whatever you want. Rod asked me if I've heard from friend of the show, Mr. John Beatty, legendary comic book inker and artist. I talked to John a little bit last week. We talked on the phone for a while. I did a little interview with him for a podcast that we'll be releasing on the Longbox Crusade. I was trying to think what day that was. I want to say it was maybe Thursday. So just a few days ago. And he was doing all right. So far, so good. Nice of you to ask after him. The old filling in the blacks. This is where you gotta love digital art, man, where you can just click and say, fill this area in with black. Yeah, us old guys who haven't gotten on the digital age yet. This is what we do. Fill in the blacks by hand. Yeah, it's kind of soothing. Kind of in a way, it's kind of fun to just watch the piece gain its shape and definition through the filling in of the blacks. See a line I want to thicken up real quick. And Rod asked how I'm holding up. I'm holding up great, Rod. Everything's good here. I hope you're doing the same. Yeah, I've gotten off fairly easy thus far since I live in out in the country in a low density area, and I was working from home anyway, just doing the art gig. So not much of a change except my kids are around. Appreciate you asking. Hoping all is well with you, sir. You too, Clinton. I know we just talked yesterday. By the way, Clinton, if you haven't checked your email, I sent you a link for yesterday's conversation. My friend Clinton in the chat is a podcast host of a couple of shows on the Longbox Crusade Network. He hosts Fan Film Fridays, where he talks about fan films that are made, and put on YouTube, and you'd be surprised at how many really good ones there are out there. And he finds them, and we talk about them. Yesterday we talked about a few for his show. So if anybody watching or listening has got a fan film that they're kind of passionate about, let him know. He's on the chat right now. And if not, you can hit him up at Coffee Comics BLG on Twitter. So while we've got Clinton in the chat, if anybody's got any fan films they love, spout off now. Make his life easy. He'll take a look at it, and then might even make it onto the podcast, Fan Film Fridays. There we are. It's all starting to come together, people. Rod asked the question over on YouTube. What was the Indiana Jones fan film that took like 20 years? I don't know. We discussed one yesterday. It was the Indiana Jones animated fan film. It took, I think that one, if I'm not mistaken, took like 6 years, I think is what Clinton said. I may be wrong. It took a handful of years. But man, was it worth it. It was very cool. But I don't know about the one that took 20 years. That one's news to me, my friend. I'll take this opportunity as I'm thinking of it too to remind everybody that we, barring any catastrophe that I haven't foreseen, we should be back on tomorrow night for our usual Tuesday night drawing session. Tuesday evening. We do it 5 p.m. Central Time, so that's 6 Eastern, 4 Mountain, and 3 Pacific, with our friend Bermuda Mark Hatherley. So that'll be tomorrow, 5 p.m. Central. Bermuda Mark will be here, we said, barring any unforeseen circumstance. And we'll be drawing and chatting for your pleasure, so be sure to join us. Maybe I'll corral Mr. John Beatty and see if he can come on too. I think he likes to stream mostly in the morning, though. John's very productive in the morning. He's an early riser, productive kind of guy. Okay, so giving some more details, Rodline on YouTube said in the comments that the film he's talking about was a shot-by-shot style remake, and they stopped, and then they started it when they were kids, and they stopped it, and then they finished it when they became adults. That sounds pretty cool, I gotta admit. Yeah, I'd definitely be in on checking that out. That sounds pretty awesome. I love the commitment there. Yeah. Coffee and Comics did the surprise shocked face, and I'm like, yeah, first I've heard it too. We're gonna have to get on that one, buddy, to see if we can find that for Fan Film Fridays. Okay, I think I'm about ready to come in with the big markers. I'm going to thicken this line here. And definitely thicken this one as well. There we go. Come in with the big boy, king size. Looks to me like over there on Twitter where Clinton's watching, he's trying to hint that maybe the whole crew might need to come in to check out that Indiana Jones fan film. So, see, we made a little connection today. I appreciate your input, Rod. You might be driving the direction of a certain podcast I know. Wonderful thing about the chat. People coming together, finding cool new stuff that they didn't even know about. Rod says, "Woot!" with exclamation points. He's very excited that we've discovered this Indiana Jones film through him. He said, "What time is it normally on?" Well, it doesn't have a date and time, Rod. It's just a podcast. Clinton tends to release them about once a month, so it would probably be a couple months down the road before we could all watch it and then get together to record about it and edit it and all that. But we will not forget you once it releases. Should we decide to do it, there may be reasons that we can't do it, or we decide to skip that one for some reason or another. But should it go forth, we will not forget where we got the idea from, and we will definitely let you know so that you can stop by and give it a listen. Write this down, Clinton. We gotta let Rodline know. I won't forget. He said, I rarely do forget things like that, but I reserve the right to. Oh, man. Hannibal's coming together here. And now it's the time I will plug, whether you're watching it live, got a handful of people watching. I appreciate it. Hello. Or if you're watching this in the replay, I have a large amount of busted books. You can have characters from the books drawn on pages. Hit me up if you need one. They're pretty affordable. These larger ones, this is a larger book, not a, I've got the small paperbacks, and those are like $22, and that's with free shipping. This larger one is $27 with free shipping. The larger ones are just a little more expensive, mainly because it makes the envelope bigger. There's a certain point at the post office where the envelope exceeds a certain size that the shipping goes up, and the larger ones exceed it. The smaller ones don't. Makes perfect sense, doesn't it? Cool. There we go. I bring in the orange. I like to do the his little prison jumpsuit orange underneath. Prisma rarely calls their markers budgies like orange. This one's called just orange. We have a winner. Usually they have some sort of fancy name for it, but this one, straight up orange. You folks at home probably can't see it. So I did a bad boy color out of the lines right here. So I'm just going to thicken the line up just a hair, cover my mistake. Got it. All right. Now that mask he wears is sort of a khaki color. I might use a 30% light umber for that one. Yeah, that'll work. Definitely. This might be the first time I've actually put color on the mask. A lot of times the only color I'll put on there is the orange, just to make it stand out a little bit. But I'm just going to play with it today. Play with the design just a little bit. Get crazy with it. I appreciate that, Rod Line. Rod says it's looking good. I appreciate that, buddy. Said I've had a little time with this. I started doing Hannibal was one of the earlier books that I got to draw on. So I've had a little more practice on this one than some of the others. So I've had kind of time to get this one down to a place where I really like it. I'm getting crazy with them. I'm gonna do a little funky. Leave some white spots for like highlight work. See if I like it, because the worst case scenario is if I don't like it, then I'll just color right back over it. So far, I'm liking it. No complaints there. Switch to broad tip. Yeah, I'm liking that. And it's going to go with a darker, a mocha light is what this color is called. For the vest down here. And that little vest, that sort of brownish leather vest. They used to strap them to the thing they wheel them around on. In some ways, Hannibal Lecter has it made because he gets to be wheeled around everywhere he wants to go. Oh man, score for Rodline. He said they were cleaning out the closet and found a box of 48 Prismacolor markers. That's the kind I'm using. Almost brand new. Good, man. I hope they still got some life in them for you. That's a good find. Prismacolors, you know, they're not the most expensive markers, but they're up there. About every year I've got some. I got a friend of one friend in particular, my friend Grant, got me a gift card to Hobby Lobby, and I get gift cards from some of my other friends as well. It's great for, you know, for artists. You got artist friends, man. Hobby Lobby, Michaels, those kind of gift cards. Psh, we will always make use of them, and that's how I got my fanciful Prisma markers. Let's see here. I would like for a color. Let's see how I like. It's okay, but let's see. Yeah, that'll work. I'm looking for one of my favorites. I got my box of skin tones here. I'm going to use this one called Eggshell. Just to do just a little skin shading. I like to leave a lot of it white. I like to leave a lot of it pale white because it gives it his skin sort of a stark, standout look. Somehow I don't know. I feel like it makes it just a little scarier. Plus, I know what I have planned coming up here in a second. Plus, you know, at this point, Hannibal Lecter spent a lot of time indoors and not getting much sun. There we go. Okay. I'm going to tuck my signature in right here, although I've got one more thing to do before we call it game over on this one. Gonna move some stuff around. That's where this bad boy comes into play. And off screen, I was a little prepared as well. Got some newspapers here. Let me know if you see any good deals you need to get in on. Although these are probably old paper. All right, I've got some Bombay ink. I got crimson. And I got a toothbrush. I'm going to pour some crimson and do a little cup. Swirl in the toothbrush. And then add red splatterwork. And then I'm going to let that dry. I'm going to pour my leftover ink back in the bottle. That's how yard sale artists do. Save myself like 15 cents right there. Go. Back in with my color ink bottles. These guys over here in the to be rinsed off section. Normally I wouldn't move this, but I want you to be able to see it better. There. As that dries. And there we go. With a little crimson ink splatter. Really gives it that creepy Hannibal Lecter feel. I am liking this one, guys. I hope you do too. So, we've just about got it wrapped up. So let me pimp out a few things. Number one, I, of course, am the yard sale artist. I'd really appreciate it if you would subscribe to my channel or give this video a like wherever you're watching it. Thank you, Rod Line. I'm putting you on the big board. It says, love the splatter. Thank you, sir. Little trick I learned from friend of the show, John Beatty. Taught me a little splatter work. Speaking of which, I encourage you to check out John Beatty Art. That's where John does his streams. I guest on there from time to time. He's a big supporter, so check him out. Check out the Longbox Crusade for all your podcasting needs. Check out Joe November, the music you hear in the background through all my shows. It's all Joe November, so check out his SoundCloud page, JOSEFLIN99, or if you just search Joe November, odds are good you'll find him. And final reminder, we'll be back tomorrow night, Tuesday night, every Tuesday night, 5 p.m. Central, 6 Eastern, 4 Mountain, 3 Pacific. I could say it. I will be with my usual co-host, Bermuda Mark Hatherley. We'll be drawing for your pleasure and chatting and just having a good time. So I'll be back here in the Yard Sale Artist Studios tomorrow evening at 5 p.m. Central. I hope you can join us. Thanks, everybody who stopped by and the folks in the chat. You guys make it fun. And I will catch everybody next time. Bye.